Erev Tov Atay. We spoke about the laws of brachot, blessings over certain kinds of bread and cakes. So I want to continue with this because there are some more questions. Somebody texted me from Eretz Israel, a certain rabbi there, asked me a couple of questions. So I want to tell you, really, because it clarifies a lot of the details about what we're talking about. Number one, right, regarding sweet challah, sweet chalot, right? So what is the bracha for that? Is it mezonot or is it hamotzi? So we already said that for the sweet challah, right, the Ashkenazim make hamotzi on this. They make seudot, Shabbat, Yom Tov, that's what they do. So it's going to be hamotzi for them. Question is, what about for us, right, for Sfaradim? Because Sfaradim, don't really eat sweet bread so much. I mean, whatever. So therefore, right, there are some poskim who say that for the Sfaradim, like the Rambam, the Rambam says that if it's sweet, the bracha is mezonot. It's not hamotzi for the Sfaradim. There are some poskim who say like that, and that's exactly what the Rambam says. But there are some others who say, yeah, but now it's a little bit different. Not what it used to be. Why? Because in the time of the Rambam, where did the Rambam live, by the way? He lived in Mitzrayim. He lived in Eretz Israel. Then he moved to Eretz Israel. So these are like Arab countries, Eastern countries. So over there, as we said, right, they don't eat the sweet bread for Seudah. So he paskin that if it's sweet, then it's mezonot. This is what he paskin the Rambam. But we live, in different country, right? We live in America. We live also in Eretz Israel. So now, what's the story with America? America is a Western country. It's not Eastern country, So the culture over here is different. So what do I mean to say? That they do eat over here sweet bread, for Seudah. In America, they do. The Ashkenazi Jews and also even the Goyim, they have sweet bread. Rolls, sweet rolls for Seudah. For dinner, for lunch, whatever it is, right? They do. So therefore, right, this country is not like what the Rambam was talking about. The Rambam was talking about in Mitzrayim. Right? Where over there, so they don't eat sweet bread. But here we do. So the minhag over here in America and also in Eretz Israel, because 50% of Eretz Israel is Ashkenazim. You understand? 50% Sfaradi, 50%, 50-50. 50% Ashkenazi. It's about even. So you have 50% who are eating sweet chalot in Israel also. So so things have changed a little bit from the time of the Rambam, not exactly what it used to be. So therefore, there are some who say, that because now in these countries that they're eating sweet chalot for Seudah, so then it's really hamotzi. It's not mezonot anymore. Depends on where you live. So therefore, right, what should you do lemase? I personally, I think I told you before, right, that I personally, on the sweet chalot, I make hamotzi because for me it's a Seudah. I grew up like this all my life. I'm eating sweet chalot, because I learned with the Ashkenazim, in the yeshivot there, whatever, they invited me. I picked up their culture a little bit. So I still like sweet chalot. I still like it, until this day I buy. I buy both, this one, right? Like Boris said, right? A little bit of this, a little bit of that. I get both. I like both of them. Okay, so whatever, right? So I personally, what I do is I make hamotzi on these chalot, on the sweet chalot. That's because for me it's a seudah. I don't have a snack. I don't eat challah for a snack or for dessert. For me it's a seudah. Yeah. So that's the thing. So if you want to do like that, you have what to rely on. If you want to do like the other opinion, which says that challah is mezonot, so then you can do that too. But what you have to do is, always make mezonot on challah. Not like half the time like this, half the time like that. If you want to do mezonot on challah, like the Sfaradim, many of the Sfaradim, so do it like that, but not 50-50, It has to be 100% like that.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You came to the party thinking you're not going to eat bread.
Yeah.
But they gave some samsa, they gave some cookies, they gave something else, and you eat, and it come up to more than 200 grams. When I should start thinking about washing my hands?
This is a good question. You hear his question? Very good question. So what's the answer? The answer is that if you start eating mezonot, right? And you're not really sure if you're gonna make a seudah. You just eat, and then you change your mind in the middle. You said, what? I want to have more. I'm hungry, I want to eat more now. So now you decided to eat 200 grams, right? Like you said, So what you got to do is like this. If you started knowing that you're going to have 200 grams, you knew that. So you should wash your hands in the beginning, Netilat yadayim, and make hamotzi. That's what you got to do. If you didn't know, so then what you do is, once you decide, to make it into a seudah, now, if you're still going to eat more, right? Another 50 grams. Go wash your hands and make, you don't have to make another bracha, hamotzi, because you already made mezonot. That's it, So what you got to do is go wash your hands, If you decided to make it into a seudah. This is the answer to your question. You have to make netilat yadayim if you're going to eat kabetza, 50 grams. If you're going to eat, you have to make a bracha also on netilat yadayim. But hamotzi you're not going to make. Why? Because you already made mazonot. That's it.
Even if I'm in the middle of Suda, I have to stop, go wash my hands.
Right. If you're going to eat more. 50 grams more. Right. That's the way you got to do it. That's the way it's done, Okay. So, as we said, right, it's a machloket in sweet challah. What do you people do? I don't know. Do you eat sweet challah for seudot? No. Nobody does? Rabbi, you don't do? You don't?
I know.
Huh?
Maybe a bite when we do in a morning.
Sometimes.
On a Saturday.
So if you don't eat, you're really like a Sephardi, Eastern, you're Bukharian, from Samarkand, from Tashkent, you're Eastern, So you make mezonot on sweet challah for you, it's like that. But the truth is that it doesn't only go by what you do, it goes by what the country does, that's the thing, So if you want to do sweet challah, hamotzi, you have what to rely on, especially in America, or in Israel. If you live in an Eastern country, you live in Bukhara, you live in Persian, Paras, that's something else. Over there, nobody eats sweet challah. But you know what it is? I have to tell you one thing though. What about the Moroccan, right? Moroccans. I've been to, I was invited to Moroccans, to eat seudah. They do eat sweet challah. They do. Did you know that?
We didn't get lucky to invite.
They have a minhag, they have a custom, the Moroccan, that they eat sweet challah for Shabbat. Just like the Ashkenazim. Not that sweet, like the Ashkenazim, but it's sweet. So, you know who invited me? I'll tell you a funny story, right? It's interesting, right? When we were in Yerushalayim, my wife became friends with the daughter of Baba Sali, She was a daughter of Baba Sali over there in Yerushalayim, Tzaddiket, very, very, very beautiful, wonderful lady, wonderful lady. Tzaddiket. So she, invited us for Shabbat one time. I think it was also Yom Tov. A couple of times she invited us. And every time it was sweet challah. Because she's Moroccan. She's Moroccan. It's Moroccan. So that's the way it is, So Moroccan, they eat sweet challah. So it depends on, again, I know as we said, right? Depends on the minhag of the place where you live. That's the whole thing, Okay, I'm not going to talk too much about that. Anyway, let's go on. So now there's also another question, right, that I was asked. What is the bracha for crepes? You already asked me about blintzes, right? What about crepes? You know what crepes is? You make like a batter, and you pour it out, right, and it spreads very, very thin, It's like a French kind of thing, whatever. So what is the bracha for that? So says the Shulchan Aruch, something like this, which is a very thin batter, like liquid. And you pour it out, into the pan or whatever, skillet. And it just spreads out, it's very, very thin.
You're talking about blintzes.
Crepes. It's, what's the difference between crepes and blintzes? Blintzes, you roll it up, with a filling, right? Crepes, it's just like flat. It's flat. You don't roll it up really with a filling so much. Whatever. It's even thinner than blintzes. So, the answer is, right, that blintzes and crepes, things like this, and also pancakes, they're all mezonot, these things. And there's two reasons why. Number one is because the batter has very little flour, right? More water. So it's very thin, So it's not like surat lechem, doesn't look like bread. This thing, doesn't look like bread. So therefore the bracha is mezonot.
Is it crispy?
No, it's soft. soft.
So what do you do? Just
Pancakes, soft. Blintzes, soft, right? Crepes, soft. Everything is soft. If it was hard, cracker, like the Bukharian thing, right? That thing, right? That's something else. That's something else. But that's also mezonot. It's also mezonot. But I'm not talking about that right now. We spoke about that already. But anyway, right, as we said, all these things, there's two reasons why they're mezonot. Number one is because, as we said, right, very thin batter, spreads out. Doesn't look like bread. Number two, they're also sweet, Number three, also because they're made in a pan. They're not put in the oven, right? So that's for sure it's mezonot, all these three things. Question is like this, right? What about if you have crepes, or blintzes, right? Or pancakes also. Let's say you have 200 grams. You make hamotzi on this? This is the question, right? And the answer is no. You don't. What's the reason why? Because Shulchan Aruch says, right, it's because it's very thin, spreads out, it doesn't look like bread, It looks very flat like that. Doesn't have enough flour in there to be thick, to rise. So it just stays flat, Doesn't look like bread. It looks more like, like pasta, That's what it is, That's why we don't, even if you have 200 grams of that stuff, right, those things, you don't make hamotzi on this. It's not a seudah.
Question.
Yeah.
You know pirashki?
Yeah, sure.
Some of them come with the cabbage, some of them come with the meat.
Sure. Yes.
So the one with the meat.
Yeah.
Either,
Pirashki is always mezonot, right? It's mezonot, always.
because of
Yeah.
the fried in pan?
But, no, because it's made with oil. It's not a regular dough, But what about calzone? You know it's calzone, right? You ever go to a pizzeria? They have calzone? Yeah. It's like a thick, dough, and inside there's filling, right?
Thin macarons?
So this one is hamotzi. You know why calzone is hamotzi? You know why? Because it's thick, like bread. It's like bread. It looks like bread. And it's not sweet either. So this is hamotzi. But pirashki, it has oil. These pastries, they have oil, so they're mezonot. But if you have 200 grams of pirashki, you have to do hamotzi, because it's thick. A little bit different, right? Each one is a little bit different. But as we said, right, getting back to what we said, these three things, blintzes, right, crepes, and pancakes, always going to be mezonot, no matter how much you eat. Right? Even if you have 500 grams, I don't know, whatever you're going to get fat. But that's what it is, right? You always, why? As we said, right? Three reasons. Just to make sure you understand. Number one, very thin. Very little flour in there, mostly water, It's like a liquid. Spreads out. Number two, because usually they're sweet also. Number three, they're fried, They're not put in the oven. So now we'll finish with this, right? I don't want to take you too long, but I want to tell you, right? This person also asked me another question. So he says, what about those wraps, that, now they have, you know what I'm talking about, right? Those wraps. You go to a restaurant, they make a wrap for you. So it's like a very thin bread, with with something inside, right? Tuna fish, whatever, I don't know. Eggs, I don't know, whatever. Or some meat in there, right? What about the wraps? What is the bracha for the wrap? So the wrap is not like the blintzes. It's not the same thing. Why? Because the wrap, there's more flour in there, it's stronger, thicker. It's like a dough, It's not a batter. It's not liquid, It's not a liquid, the wrap. It's a bread. So therefore, if you eat like something like that, a wrap, which is made out of wheat flour, it's bread, So you have to make hamotzi on this.
They're using Mexican bread, so I forgot.
Right. Tortilla, whatever, all these kinds of things, right? Now, here's the thing, right? Tortilla depends, right? What it's made from. If it's made only from corn, no wheat in there. What is the bracha? She'akol. It's not real bread. It's corn. Cornbread. You understand? But what about if it's 50-50, right? Sometimes like this. 50% wheat, 50% corn. What's the bracha? Hamotzi. Because when it has wheat in there, it's bread. Even 50%, even less. So again, right, there's a difference between, a little bit, right, difference between this, minute difference between these things. But that's the way it is, So wrap, if it's got wheat in there, some wheat, it's hamotzi. It's a seudah. Because it's real bread, just a very thin. That's what it is, like lafa, or pita. It's even thinner, but it's bread anyway. Baruch Adonai leolam, amen ve'amen. Rabbi Yochanan shomer, אז הקדוש ברוך הוא לזכות ישראל. לפיכך הכי בא להם תורה ומצוות, שנאמר בני חפש, למען צדקו יגדיל תורה וידיר.